is outside the human body. Includes skin, fingernails, toenails, hair. All that is part of what is known as the integumentary system. Just like you have a circulatory system, a digestive system, the integumentary system is everything on the outside, if you can imagine, with the skin being your largest organ. Max Planck and others, Dr. Oyibo can expand in terms of quantum physics. The study of the atom inside. In other words, the quantum physics deals with everything from skin in. Professor Einstein's theories in terms of the special and the general law of relativity that Dr. Oyibo was developing and discussing is everything skin out, or the outer world, the stars, everything out here. So the concept of the unified field theory in the research I did is the uniting, is the bridge between the skin out and the skin in. And that they are saying that the same pattern microcosmically follows the same pattern macrocosmically. And that if you understood this unified field theory, that piece that unites outside and inside, that you could then develop a way in which you could call upon the forces of the cosmos at your will. Our African ancestors understood how to do this. Much of their writing deals with these concepts. What we have got to do as a people is understand our role in all of this and to recapture this. And I know it's very difficult for anybody to see someone of color dropping this kind of wisdom. But it is not that far-fetched when you know that we taught the world this wisdom. So as we said in the beginning, it is not so much that we are innovating, we are not inventing anything. We are innovating through remembering. We are remembering what we've done in order to take it to another level. Hotel. But I would like to just talk to Dr. Oyibo and just get into this, because I would just like, and this is the theory that was printed in Our Times Press. When was that? So we can get that.
January
1999.
1999, that's correct.
I was given this. We have had Dr. Oyibo come and present to our community and our children on 2 occasions. We knew of Dr. Oyibo. I knew of his turbulence, because the moment he told me about his book in Turbulence, I knew that was Ptah, which goes back to the Shabaka stone. But when I saw this formula, this just literally, it opened up a whole nother way of looking at this particular time. And what I'd like to do is just look at it for the way it is, and I'd like to go through this and talk about the variables with Dr. Oyibo so we can get a sense of what it is, because believe me, I'm not that far from many of you. And this is a learning experience for me also. I believe this will change the world. You talk about a new world order. If you wanted a mathematical equation that would be the basis for that new world order, it is this formula. This is a living formula. This is not just math to equate and do. You can do things with this. You can build buildings with this. You can make clothes with this. You can meditate and join the ancestors with this if you understood how all this fits. And it's important that we get back into our roots, that information you can't use, you wasted your time learning it. I would not waste my time doing this if I did not think it would do something for me and for you and for us as a people. What I'd like to do is look at this from understanding what we just talked about in terms of the Kemetic origin of the universe. Here. I'd like to now take just these 2. There's a third philosophy that we can get into later, but I just want to deal with these 2. And I'd like to take this apart, and I'd like to talk to Dr. Oyibo and to see what we can do. Now, what I said, Dr. Oyibo, was that G, as a variable, is the balance, what we call the balance of natures. We said that 0, 0 and 0, 1 and all of the numbers also had a role in terms of the 4 pairs. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to get to the little g. This is the large G. We wanted to get to the little g. And so we said that the little g is equal to the physical manifestations. Or the boundaries, the parameters, as Dr. Oyibo said, the boundaries of the universe. We said that the large N, because you see that the large N is here. This is the large N. We said that the large N is the sense of the nature or the essence that you cannot see. So therefore, N became what we want to call meta.
Is that the Greek name for that letter is eta.
Is that right?
That's right.
You see, now I didn't know that. So this, again, this is a building process, and I think that this discussion should be what the future holds, think tanks.
It's exactly this.
Interesting. Very interesting. Because then you can see the concept.
Yes.
Because remember what N is, it's none. This is why this was so attractive to me. Because I never spoke to Dr. Oyibo, yet he has put the parameters. He has put the equal sign on the other side to be NN, which, by the way, is what the Chemite said was none. It's right there. He's labeled it. This is how I know he's on the right track. It makes me no difference what any other physicist or mathematician does. For all I'm concerned, they could be right. What I know is Dr. Oyibo is right. And that's a large difference.
Yes. You know, this this variable determines the geometry, and Einstein had visited this variable in his own way. Newton visited all of them, everyone, visited but not in this form, in a simpler form. They visited it, when n equal 0, 1 or 0. Okay? This n can go from it's infinity. You go to 1, 2, 3 to infinity, minus 1, 2, 3 to infinity. It can go in all directions. It's the entire universe.
And that is the underpinning of Nun.
That's right.
Nun is the underpinning of everything and all, something, nothing.
That's right. Well, the classical results has n is equal to 1. But in that case, so if n is equal to 1, you have t to power 2 here, x to power 2, y to power 2, z to power 2. And that will be that is a form of that has been used to generate the results. In that case, they will also say that this and this and this and this are equal. And for 85 years or 100 years, they never went above n equal 1. And this never existed.
Mm.
Now they can go, n can go to infinity or minus infinity.
Mm.
They've only dealt with 2.
We found the variables that you have put, t is equal to nun nunet.
Mm-hmm.
X is ha het.
Yes. Mm.
Cuck,
Mm.
coquette.
Mm.
And the z
Z.
is amen and amenet.
Amen.
This is what we've found.
Amen.
My brother,
Yes.
when you look at this,
Yes.
and you look at this bottom one,
Yes.
one of the keys to understand is that we understand why these variables in place.
Yes.
T in Meduneter, when you add T,
Yes.
it becomes feminine,
Yes.
which is birth,
Yes.
being born.
Yes.
We can understand why your first one would be T.
Yes.
your x
Yes.
being that variable
Yes.
of ha het,
Yes.
the y
Yes.
ka ket,
Yes.
because they are natural progressions. As you end something, you begin something. So therefore, amen and amenet
Yes.
clearly could be z,
Yes.
because it is from here the concept now, the metaphor.
Yes.
You end and you begin again.
Yes.
When we see the n+1, we see this as the metaphor for the law of polarity. That for everything that you have its opposite. So that this piece, n+1, becomes the law of polarity, which then splits the t, which makes it net. You also have here the n+1, which makes this ha het. You have the n+1 ka ket,
Absolutely.
amen and amenet.
Absolutely.
This is astronomy.
Yes.
This is coming from a brother who wasn't necessarily interested in this, but sitting at the feet of someone like John Henry Clark, and then being able to expand into works of Sheikh Anta Diop and Theophilus Benga, teaching children astronomy in kindergarten and first and second grade, wanting to teach them from their perspective. We combine it all together. Now, what all that Dr. Oyibo has said, I'm saying we can teach the second graders on their own metaphoric, mature level. We can teach it, and they can be the future pyramid builders. They can be the future thinkers of our world, because what Dr. Oyibo has done is that he has written it down. What I have done is I have theorized it. I have put it in a context that I could understand so that the community could understand.
Yes. Yes.
What's so dynamic about what Brother and I are doing here is that this is a novice. This is you. I'm speaking on your behalf because I'm learning, just as you're going through this, I'm learning this.